Hi guys, I want to thank you just for joining us once again for another daily Devo. Today I'm going to really just open up a little bit what I got a chance to share with my students this past time that I got to really open up and share a message with them. And today we're going to be looking at Psalms chapter 18. I'm going to read a few verses. I don't even know yet where I'm going to stop because even in this passage it was just, I don't know, God was speaking to me so much through it, especially through kind of a little situation that happened, which I'll share the story with you in a moment. So starting in Psalm 18, looking at verse 1. I'm just going to read some for you and then we'll talk together. It says in verse 1, I love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. The cords of death encompassed me. The torrents of destruction assailed me. The cords of Sheol entangled me. The snares of death confronted me. In my distress, I called upon the Lord. To my God, I cried for help. From his holy temple, he heard my voice, and my cry to him reached his ears. Now, I stopped on verse 6, but if you continue reading in verse 18, the message is the same. It's just beautiful throughout the whole chapter. And the message that I really opened up and shared with the students was this idea that God is our shelter. Now, for those of us, we might recognize that. Yes, we know that God is our shelter. We can, when things are going crazy, when the storms of life are just all around us, we can open up to him and we can just tell him about our concerns. Tell him about what we're going through. Tell him about the craziness of the storm that we're in. And we can hear in this that God is our refuge and our strength. He is our fortress. He hears our cries and he comes to help. That's a beautiful thing to know. I mean, that's really where David, when he's talking in this psalm, is opening up about. He's saying the enemies are surrounding me. The storms are crazy around me right now. And I cry out to the Lord. And it ended so beautifully saying, and he heard me. He heard my cry. But something beautiful that I wanted to also share with them, because we recognize that God is our shelter in the storms that we're aware of. But he's also a shelter in the storms that we're very unaware of. This all kind of came up, and this idea came into my mind. We had a ginormous, crazy thunderstorm happen just a couple nights ago. And I asked the students about, so how many of you actually were woken up by the storm, and how many of you just completely slept through the entire storm? And it was about half and half. It was beautiful for the example, because the half that was woken up by the storm was realizing that their house was a shelter. The craziness was going on outside, but they were sheltered from the storm that they were aware of. But the other half, they weren't aware of the storm, but they were still sheltered. They were still taken care of. And I wanted to open up a question to them. It's the same one I'm going to open up to you. How often do you think that there is a storm in your life that you're not even aware of, but God is still your shelter? But there are things going on in this world where there's even just the spiritual side of this world. There's spiritual warfare going on all around us that we are so totally unaware of. And God is being such a shelter for us that we don't even know it's happening, and we can find rest in him in this shelter, even in the middle of this storm that we don't even know that's going on. And that's something I wanted to open up to the students and open up with you. Just the one, I want you to be aware that God is always your shelter. Whether you know about the storm or you don't even know that it's happening, God is always your shelter. He is always taking care of you, and he is always going to be a refuge for you, whether you know you're in a storm or not. But second, I wanted to also encourage you just to begin saying thank you for this, because there are so many things that are happening in our life that God is working in our stories that we don't even know about. But these are so important and so vital things that he is working on in our lives that if he wasn't doing this, where would we be? What sort of storms would we actually be in that we don't even know are happening right now? So I want to encourage you, one, recognize that God is a shelter in the storms that you're aware of and in the storms you're not even aware of. He is always taking care of you. And I also want to encourage you just to begin saying thank you to him for this, that he's actually watching out for you and taking care of you, even in the storms that you're unaware of. So I hope this is encouraging to you. And if you want more encouragement, I really encourage you, read chapter 18, just all the verses there in Psalms 18. It is such an encouragement to realize that God is our shelter. Thank you guys for listening to this. I want to pray for you and then we'll get out of here. Father, I want to thank you so much for this chance to be able just to pray with these viewers and just to talk with you. Lord, I just want to say thank you for being our shelter, the storms that we're aware of and the storms that we're not. Thank you for taking care of us, and thank you for loving us so much. We love you, and I pray. Amen. As always, guys, know Jesus loves you. Thanks for watching. See ya.